Have you ever been called lazy, scattered, or disorganized? Well, what if it's actually something more? ADHD is often misunderstood, and many people with ADHD are unfairly labeled as lazy or irresponsible. In reality, ADHD can make everyday tasks harder, not because of lack of effort, but due to struggles with focus, impulse control, and organization. If this sounds familiar, stick around. Here are 5 signs that might point to ADHD and not laziness. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, is a condition where someone experiences ongoing patterns of inattention or hyperactivity that interfere with daily life. It's not that people with ADHD can't focus at all. In fact, sometimes they can focus too much on things that aren't priorities. This can make life feel overwhelming or chaotic. Sadly, many people with ADHD get labeled as lazy or unreliable, which creates a lot of shame and prevents them from getting help. But those labels don't define who you are. Before we dive in, remember this video is for educational purposes and isn't a replacement for professional advice. Now, let's jump into 5 signs that could mean you have ADHD. Sign number 1. Signs in childhood. ADHD often starts in childhood, even if you weren't diagnosed back then. Symptoms like mood swings, forgetfulness, or trouble focusing can get confused with things like depression. But if you look back at your childhood and see signs of these patterns, it could be worth talking to a professional. Sign number 2, short attention span. Having a short attention span is a common ADHD symptom, but it's not the same as laziness. The difference is that people with ADHD may have trouble focusing because their brains are drawn to other things. It's not that they can't focus, they just get hyper-focused on something else even if it's not the priority. Sign number 3, leaving things unfinished. Because of that short attention span, many people with ADHD struggle to finish projects. You might start something excitedly, but then lose interest and leave it half done. Whether it's schoolwork, chores, or even hobbies, things might get pushed aside, but there are treatments like medication and therapy that can help manage these symptoms. Sign number 4, poor impulse control. People with ADHD often struggle with impulse control. This could look like making risky choices, overspending, or even interrupting people in conversations. It's not always intentional. Sometimes it just happens without thinking. Learning how to manage impulses is key, and it can be done through therapy and other strategies. Sign number 5, difficulty staying organized. Do deadlines sneak up on you? Do you have a hard time keeping your tasks straight? Disorganization is another sign of ADHD. Planners and calendars might not always help, but there are strategies that can work. For instance, setting alarms to help you move from one task to the next can keep you from getting stuck on one thing for too long. So, did any of these signs sound familiar to you? ADHD is nothing to be ashamed of, and recognizing these signs is the first step in getting support. If you relate to this, reach out to a mental health professional who can help you find a way forward.